Jacks.
All right,
You're on. We're being taped.
Shouldn't want me to go.
All right, I'm going to call to order the regular meeting of the Tilton Planning Board, Tuesday, May 10th, 2016. And we're a little late starting, and I apologize for that, but we're starting around 6:33. And the first case we have this evening is Mr. Bernard's, continuation of Mr. Bernard's case. It's Planning Board Case 16-03. It's a continuation of a site plan review, proposal to construct a commercial office building at 580 Laconia Road in the mixed-use district. John, I will turn it over to you. As you know, we continued this because we had questions about drainage.
Correct. And one of the first things I'd bring up and produce for you folks is the shower environmentalist went out and did a perk test for 30 minutes and found out that the drainage in the soil was as we had hoped. It was between 2 and 5 minutes per inch. We actually ended up with 3, which, you know, present that and put in evidence. So the chamber system that we produced before that will be located within this box is adequate for 100% of the rain to be taken care of in that surface on a 50-year event. In a 50-year event, 100% of the water wouldn't be taken naturally into an impervious surface. So actually we're treating more water here than you would just in its natural condition. That being said, I want to point out that this is what we're using. These are called the Storm Tech 71s. It's going to be 87 feet long. We'll have 2 entrances to be for the drainage. You also wanted to show how the lot was going to be drained and how we would catch them. This should illustrate, flip it. But if we can't illustrate it, I will do the work, guys. So this illustrates how the water will flow. A lot of confusion was with the last meeting. You didn't understand how the water would not all come out on this side. Well, the elevation is down here is 521. The elevation where the drains are 520. We have 521 here, 522 here, and so on. So you can see how the water will be captured and be treated. We're talking with Dario regarding this. He was concerned, well, what happens if you have a 100-year event? Because there is sometimes that we do have a 100-year storm event. And so he was recommending that we have an overflow that's piped out of this system that goes into the 20-foot setback, which he was saying is able to be used for drainage even, and I wasn't aware of that, so that was something good. Where is it? Right there. All right. You on board with that one, with the overflow? Do you want to discuss that at all, what we talked about?
Yeah, my thought was that there was nothing in the event, you know, the system is designed to infiltrate 100% of the 50-year storm. And my thought was, okay, what about the 100-year storm? What about the 250-year storm? Your parking lot's going to be inundated with water, and so I thought maybe there should be a bypass in that event that gets the water out into the local drainage system. And, so that, yeah, that's what we discussed.
Right.
He said he would be willing to consider that. I don't know if you can incorporate.
Well, that's really how does the board
Right,
feel about it, and then
yeah.
we can go from there. So I guess we'll stop right there so that can be discussed.
All right, any comments from the board? My only comment is that we have had at least 200 years storms, I believe, in the last couple of years.
150s both. Yeah. Which caused tremendous amount of damage, especially in the Tony area, some of which is still not repaired. If an overflow pipe is created from that system, it
Right.
can't just simply come to daylight.
Right,
So
it
a
would-
swale,
We would, if that's what the board wanted,
a
make it.
swale would have to be,
Right, would have
design.
it pumped out here, would put a swale in along here. Or probably really along here. Let it swale into here, which is that 20-foot setback, and let it drain down into here, which makes sense. It would work.
so do you design of that swale?
I didn't, we were going to discuss it this time, and
Okay.
it's something that you could put in as a conditional approval that we design a swale. The parking dimensions were added to the parking spaces. They're all going to be 18 by 9 as required, and the handicap spaces are double spaced.
So do we have another print besides the old one?
No, I'm gonna use the same one, I just added the dimensions to it.
Okay.
You have a copy of that for?
It's, yeah, you'll be able to take it, it's this copy right here.
Well,
The dimensions right there.
we don't have them in front of us to see if they work.
All those are to specs. The ones that you have down there, I measured them all out again. What you have there is actually the scale. I measured each one of those.
What is the I don't even have the dimensions of the parking lot.
I was just going over the last things that we asked for, the last 5 things. And it was a parking space dimension, the snow storage, the drainage, which we did, a diagram of additional curbing, which has been put in along here, which you asked for. And I think really the curbing was put in here mostly because we felt like water was gonna spill over here, but it really won't because you're a foot higher here than you are in the center. But I'm
Well, we
willing
don't
to
even
put
have
in,
those elevations.
Yes.
I mean, I've highlighted this application. These are the things that are supposed to be in here that aren't.
I'm going along with the 5 things that we discussed
Okay.
last meeting.
And we discussed, as we're just discussing, the parking spaces.
Right. The dimensions.
So we don't have that on our plans to see if they work. We don't have any dimensions on our plans. We don't have anything that shows some kind of, sidewalk safety place for pedestrians once they get to the buildings for cars, and that was discussed at the last meeting. So where are all these items that are supposed to be with these prints?
According to the minutes of the last meeting, which I have here in front of me, 5 things that were said that were tabled for is what I'm really here to discuss.
So do you think you're excluded from the requirements of the site plan?
No, I think they're all on there.
They are?
Yes.
Maybe I'm working from the wrong print. So I don't have proposed signage, I don't have proposed landscaping.
Yeah, all that's on the print.
Where's the
It's
proposed
not that
landscaping?
we don't have the
Right,
print,
this
that's-
is, I can get as many copies of this you want, that Gary can take it. This is the one that we're trying to approve here tonight. We have the signage right here. We have the lighting that we went over, but those were done in previous meetings, and we brought them into the last meeting, and we discussed those at the
Size and
time.
location of proposed utilities, we don't know where sewer's coming in or any of this, we don't have any of this.
The surge is already existing out there, it's already teed
The
onto the
sewage
property.
is down here, right?
No, actually, the surge line's right here, they already teed
Okay.
onto it. The water line I've already brought onto this property. This has been in the stage of being
Okay,
developed.
so size and location of proposed utilities is not here. Elevation views of all buildings, size, shape, size, height, I mean, are we ignoring this? Or is it just me?
Well, I thought we had discussed all of those, and that was on the plan that, I don't have a copy of those minutes.
I have
With his-
This plan
No.
doesn't have any of these items on it, and all these items have been discussed at some point.
That plan there, but he's saying it's on.
Okay, well, we don't have that plan.
Well, I mean, it's here.
Right, if it gets
He
approved,
has
you
it
can have
here.
it.
I mean, we're just,
Well, how can you approve it if you don't have it here to study?
well,
I mean, you don't,
over there. You wanna put it on the table?
Sure.
kind of doing this backwards, I think.
What we sent John back to do, let me go over this, okay, and these are from the minutes. And if there were anything other than these, we did not give them to John. It was parking dimensions, snow storage details, drainage information, including elevation and directions of flow, diagram of additional curbing, because we asked for that, even though
Correct.
John didn't think it was necessary, he agreed to do it. Data including site-specific percolation rates sufficient to verify that the storm drainage system can infiltrate 100% of the 50-year storm. Those are the conditions that we gave John before we would approve it. Does everybody agree with that?
Yes.
Because we approved these minutes, and those were conditions of these, in these minutes.
So he isn't required to keep to the conditions of the site plan application. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I thought we approved the application.
We accepted
We
it
already
as
accepted it.
substantially completed. However, having reviewed this and this, all of these things in pink are not on this. They may be on that, but we're just getting that tonight. In fact, we're not getting that, it's up there.
Well,
So,
Well,
you know,
John,
and then
you
we
wanna
have a
take that back,
percolation test.
We have the results
Who's
of
to
that.
say that that percolation test results works with that system? You have two pieces of a puzzle. Who's putting it together?
Storm
The
Tech designed.
applicant?
No, Storm Tech designed it. And
Okay,
you- we
where's
have a-
that design information,
I give you another copy of it, should right there.
you know?
There's another copy of the Storm
So
Tech.
this is the design that's
Yes.
going in your place.
Correct, 580 Tony
Using the
Road.
percolation test results.
Correct.
And we're just getting that now?
But we only asked for it at the last time, John was
It's
here.
required in his application.
That's why we asked for it.
We shouldn't have to ask for it, it should have been here.
Well, we did, however.
Excuse me while I take a minute to read it.
And John, if you could get that, so we can take a look at that, I'd appreciate
You
it.
want it down?
Yeah, thanks.
This isn't designed anyway.
I might have to call on my experts over there sooner than I thought.
Here's the-
But he said there was a
Sign
sign
right
here, where's the sign?
Sign.
Oh. Right on him. That's a sign, but
It
it
doesn't
doesn't
show,
say sign.
John, it doesn't show the sign.
No, I, you have to
Might
write
want
that.
to.
I would've wrote this.
Go for it. How much is
No.
probably $99?
Pencil. This is the sidewalk?
No, this is, no,
Is that the curving?
right, that's the curving that they, she asked for a curving, so we drew the
Yeah.
curving along here.
These are installation instructions
Right, and
for
if you-
this product. They're
For this,
not-
for this property
This
too.
isn't a design for
It-
storm treatment for
Yes,
this
I
product.
have some more.
I don't see anything that talks about percolation.
Percolation's over here, Catherine. We got everything here.
You do?
Yep.
Percolation, right.
There's a percolation.
Okay, so what does storm tech have to say about the percolation test?
It said,
It's not-
they can't do it. The only one that can do a percolation test.
I didn't
These
say
ones right here.
percolation test. I wanna see something where storm tech uses percolation information to design the system.
They design it between two,
On your property.
that's how they
That's not what
design
took place.
it. I know you're not happy with it, Catherine, but it's,
I'm
that's how
happy
they
with a
design it.
very, I'm happy with a very incomplete application.
How did the other folks look through anyways, the last meeting I was at?
Well,
Did they approve?
you know, that's the,
That's an existing
the,
property, and they did very well, because they had all the information.
I think that if we had had these questions, we approved the application as complete. Am I correct?
Yes.
We approved the application.
Yes, we did.
Accepted it as.
We accepted it as correct.
Substantially.
It's good enough.
And then
You can't
we
keep-
gave him,
Kept telling him, oh, you didn't fill, we should have done that.
No, the applicant should have done this.
Well, why didn't we catch that before?
I want to say that I
Look.
stated last time at this meeting, Catherine, because I was concerned about you carrying on like this, that if I come in.
Excuse me.
No, no,
Excuse
this
me.
is my turn to talk.
No, it isn't.
It is, it's
No,
an
it
open
isn't.
board. You're
You
saying I
haven't been
can't talk.
recognized by
I'm-
the chair.
can you address me, please?
I will.
Yeah.
So the last time we had this meeting, I said, these are the items that I have to take care of, and please don't throw any more. You guys agreed to that. That's what was said. And I just, that's all I'm gonna say.
All right, now, lots of us were here, so we did say that the application was satisfactory.
Substantially complete is the language we use every time.
Well, we said that, okay? And we gave him conditions when he left here that we wanted satisfied before we would move forward. And the conditions are those 5 that are written in the minutes that we approved as correct. Okay? And I think that's,
That's not what it says. It says to continue deliberation, planning board meeting to allow the applicant to submit the following information. It doesn't say that that's it, that's all he has to submit. And even if he does, this storm tech, these are installation instructions for any type of storm tech system. They're not based on the percolation test, these weren't designed considering that.
I disagree with that.
I think what we requested is data including site-specific percolation rates, sufficient to verify that the storm drainage system can infiltrate 100% of the 50-year storm. And I think that the basins that are on the drawing, and they were on there last time,
Correct.
are substantial based on this percolation test. Now, I'm not an engineer, and I don't think anyone sitting around this table is. However, it seems to me that these are, in fact, satisfactory percolation test results. If you want to pass it around.
Yeah, we've already looked
For a septic system? For
for
what?
the soil type.
Okay,
But
and for
For
what?
drainage.
Drainage.
For drainage, that's
Okay,
what
for
we.
drainage of what?
The
That's
For
a
the storm,
percolation
stormwater.
test, is to see
Kevin,
Yes.
drainage.
there's no point in
Yes, I know what
arguing
it is.
I'm
this
not
time.
arguing, I'm telling you facts. You look at that storm tech information and you'll see it's installation instructions. Someone didn't design that based on this percolation test for this site.
They absolutely did, Catherine. You are 100% wrong about that.
Okay, read it. Where does
I'm
it
just
say
saying-
that?
All right.
He visited me out at the site. We looked at the site. At the time,
His name isn't even on it, nobody stamped it.
you asked for the
Nobody's-
percolation rate that was stamped by a soil
And
scientist.
that is stamped
That's
by
what
a
you asked
soil
for, Catherine, and
scientist.
that's what I brought.
Okay,
And that is what we requested,
okay,
okay?
go ahead.
All right, any more comments or questions from the planning board? I have anybody in the audience, I'll open it up to the public. Is there any public here? All right, I'll close it to the public and bring it back to the planning board. What other issues do we have? I wanna ask, what is the snow storage at this point?
The snow storage will be pushed up onto this end. This is where you're gonna come in during a storm with your blade. You're gonna push it up to this end. If we fill up that capacity, we'll have it removed. We'll have it trucked off.
Well, there's an additional spot on this plan, in this corner.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about over here. There'll be some additional spot. But I plow. I go out and I live at these, and I don't know who else in this room is out plowing storms, but I know when I'm out there, if we have a 12-inch storm or 15-inch storm, you plow the areas as much as you can, and then you have to have it removed. Just like the Tanger Outlets does, just like anybody moves out. So that's, we'll put it where we can, and then we'll have it shipped off.
All right, what's the store, I'd like more detail on the signs. The
Okay.
sign, you had,
We're allowed to
just
do-
wrote it in.
Right.
What are you going to do?
We're allowed to do a 40-foot, square-foot sign in that area, just like the other two buildings that I own in there that will do. They'll be very similar to it. They'll be in compliance with what the regulations are. We'll apply for that permit along, when we apply for our building permit, we're applying for a sign for it. Downcast lighting.
All right. Are the parking dimensions on there, but I can't speak.
No, there's one that says 18.
Yeah, and the other one says 9, so it's 18
Okay.
by 9. And they all have to be 18 by 9, just like the required.
Okay. Are the elevations in the direction of flow?
They
They're
are.
on that, the other one, not on this one, right?
Correct.
Well,
Yeah, which I think.
And the additional curbing is on there.
Correct.
Yeah. Doris, when John talked about, the 100-year, were you satisfied that, what,
The overflow, yeah, we didn't talk specifics about exactly where, or we did, but I didn't, at the time we were on the phone. I don't know in my mind exactly where it would outlet, but again, I, if it can go to, perhaps,
1
where did you have in
Well,
mind? I mean,
he-
I guess that's the only issue. I think it's a good idea to have,
Right there.
and,
This would be the best thing for it, as it would allow it to drain down here
Mhm.
and go into this swale and continue on its way. So it would have the overflow into
yeah,
here.
I mean, provided the system serves its function of infiltrating 100% of the 50-year storm, you know, that bypass is almost never going to actually come into use. I think almost more of a safety issue than an environmental issue, and so, yeah, I would be satisfied with that.
I have a question.
Mhm.
Who determined the elevation on this property?
We went out there, all the elevations, the surveyors, see, these 520s, this is all surveyed, it's a survey
This
plan.
is 518 up there. and
Right,
this
we
is
changed these,
521.
to 521 when we went back, this was the original one, this is one of the first ones that we brought in, and this one over here has the 521 also, and that's the one that we'll be submitting today for approval.
Any other comments? Yeah.
Just one, you said 5 by 18, I don't know if it's gonna make a difference for the release court, the actual length of the parking space is 19 feet. So I don't know if it's gonna affect some of the tighter spots.
I don't think it would, I thought it was 18, it's 19.
It's 19,
We'll be happy to extend those another foot,
just to.
appreciate that.
There's one handicap in this section, right?
Correct.
I thought you said there were two.
No, I don't say
Oh,
no.
okay.
That's not one, right?
No, that's not.
19.
All right. Anything else? Kevin, what did you have on that application that you,
What size building is gonna be on this again?
It's 30 by 60.
How many stories?
It's one story with a basement, a full basement.
How many offices?
One, this time.
Where's that written?
It's on the plan.
that was,
The new plan.
Right.
This is, no, this is over
Right,
right
C
here.
60
Oh,
by
right
30.
over there.
Yeah, well, that's what the building is.
Where's the one story, one office?
You
What's
write it in
this
minutes.
one,
One story, one office, just like the other three buildings I have there. So the other two buildings.
Yeah, one building's started out to be an office building,
That office is barn.
started off as computer sales,
I know him boat sales, and
and
then,
evolved into something that wouldn't have been allowed there.
is that? Interesting.
okay. Anything else?
30 by 60.
So does he need to add onto his plan, it needs to say one story, one office?
Look,
Is
that
this-
was all discussed in our first meeting, and
Okay.
I think you said it's gonna be almost identical to,
Raw Life
Yeah.
Cafe, the same design.
Is 19 feet gonna affect these other, this one over here, or what's this, entry?
I don't believe so.
Wasn't there a sidewalk or something that we saw on the plan that went around?
At one point, we had a sidewalk on this one up in here, and then I kind of looked at every other building that has been designed around here. I looked at all the parking lots, and what we're trying to do is trying to make our walkway across the parking lots, but if you look at Walmart, you look at Shaw's, you look at anybody, there's no way you can make a walkway across the parking lot. It's just, it's not how they design
That
parking.
walkway wasn't across the parking lot.
We had this
I
one up
wasn't at
here.
that.
It was against the building, that's
Oh,
not
that's
across
not
the parking lot,
the-
Shaw's has
Oh,
a
okay.
Yeah, I wasn't at
Yeah.
that.
sidewalk that goes the length of that whole complex
Yeah, I understand that.
against the building, which that is against the building.
Right, what I would say in response to that, this building is 60 feet long, Shaw's must be what, 400 feet long or something?
there is a sidewalk, so.
Right. Along the front of it, yeah, but not like going across the parking lot.
Even Irving's has a sidewalk,
Hmm.
so pedestrians have a safe place to hop out of the way of cars and parking lots.
And then,
Space
is there a bump out or is there a bump out? Like that with a nose? On that one, there's a nose,
And this
no
one,
nose.
yeah, at this point, we're not doing it now, we've gotten back to where there's no nose.
Number 4 says diagram of additional curving. That's just.
Just right along here.
Pointing there,
Right, and well, we actually made it a little thicker right through here, so we can show that there'll be a curving put in there.
What are the dimensions of it, and is that on the
It was
blueprint?
usually gonna be like a, when they're paving, they'll just put a curve.
So there's no
on it.
dimensions
No, I
of
have
it
no
on there.
dimensions of a curve.
Okay, and the only other thing that I know there was a discussion about was the egress, because of shared, of the two lots. And I think I found this, that's all addressed in here. I think it's page 124.
Excuse me.
I have it marked. Oh, it's page 174. And the one, okay. It says, for access to a proposed commercial or industrial enterprise or to a subdivision, all of which for the purpose of this section shall be considered a single parcel of land, even though acquired by more than one conveyance or held nominally by more than one owner. So, and I think what you do is the, like I have for my drive is an easement.
Right.
And that's what they have at, I believe Coles. I think that Coles is responsible for that drive,
Right.
even though it goes into Lowe's. So we have lots of instances of that.
And that's all in writing in their site plan.
It didn't say of more than one owner though, you just said? There's only one owner
Right.
involved here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the concern was that if you sold it to somebody else,
Exactly.
that's why this is appropriate,
I understand.
okay? All right, anything else?
My only concern is, are these plans gonna be part of, like, the record, these don't have to be recorded or anything, or we just staying in our file? Because these are already old plans, right, that are recorded. So they don't have-
May or may not be. Currently, I think all the county registries in the state are not accepting site plans, only subdivisions. You can record a notice of decision from a site plan review hearing, if the board wants to get into that, we can at some point. But yeah, they won't be recorded, but I think in this case, it's gonna be very important that I get all the materials from tonight's meeting and add them to the case files and do that from here.
And that's a condition that should be put on it, was that you can't do any move forward at all till everything is submitted,
That's fine.
and not just, here's a drawing,
I'm-
with
no.
something official.
Right.
Okay. Anything else?
This one here.
Correct.
This
Submit
one,
this.
this one.
And
And
that,
they're
that
both
may,
of them,
yes, that one.
Yeah.
and they're
one.
both
We don't have that,
incomplete.
okay?
Oh, okay. Guess we should specify which.
No,
These
all
are
new,
all
it's gonna be
new.
more than
All
one.
new ones.
This one has to be redone because it's gonna have to say 19 feet and this curving has to be,
And the
well,
sign is gonna have to
updated.
be.
That's fine.
the building has to say 1 floor. What's this,
Updated
some
and
light?
complete.
That's fine.
You can add this,
And submitted.
Well, you can't get approval.
Right, and
Approval
the
is
perk
conditional
test,
on-
the perk test. That's it.
it's got, I was gonna read it. You want it?
No, I just wanna make sure Kathy gets it done. Okay.
And-
Any other comments?
So the plan's gonna be updated to meet all the items that we talked about.
Well, those were already talked about, that's,
Yeah, well, this is the curving, the parking
Yeah.
space, blah, blah, blah.
that's not, that's,
Signage, same thing,
yeah. The conditions are in these minutes that we gave.
This should be on the
Satisfied.
front.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, to add it, just say it's a condition to have it on the prints.
Have that,
Oh,
say it in a complete sentence.
Have one,
Well, you're updating, you're putting in, just gonna update this.
yeah,
Say all the items that we talked about need to be fulfilled.
But we can't just say that we talked
all the
about.
items that
Oh,
we talked
yeah.
about,
Oh,
we have to be
listen.
specific.
Yeah.
So it'll be signage, parking, curving, building, sidewalk. It's a lot.
Well, the building's one, right? Just wanted the height
Yeah.
and
I think
Oh, that's in the
And you
manual.
say one floor, one
The
office.
curbing is on there.
Okay, so signage.
No, the
parking.
curbing,
Dimensions on,
dimensions aren't.
Dimensions.
That's-
Dimensions
Alright,
of
so-
curbing.
Yeah,
So, be specific.
What size curbing would you like? 'Cause
But when we say one floor, are we gonna end up with what we've got over there with 2 floors
yeah, you'll have an upstairs and a basement. The basement will be a walkout basement, is what I'm,
that you're gonna rent?
I hope so. I want to.
So
That's what the raw life is. It's a,
That's what I'm saying,
it's
so
a,
it's two
it's,
two businesses in there.
no, that's a one-story building with a walkout basement.
Right, that's correct. That's what
Okay,
we're building.
that's
Same design.
what we're-
That's correct.
That's
you're
a,
putting a walkout basement on that side.
Well, it'll be glass on it, so you'll be able to, the way the lot lends itself.
Right now, the lot is level, except for this slope. So these are not finished grades.
No, they are finished grades, absolutely.
And how are you gonna put a walkout basement on a flat
Because
lot?
if you, when you were walking out there in the flat, you were actually up in this section here. So when you go to put this
Actually, I
building
was all the
in,
way over on the.
so when you go to put this building in, it works out perfectly.
Where's your walkout gonna be?
Well, it's,
20-foot
you know,
setback?
walkout is really a bad terminology for it. You're gonna have a basement that's gonna have glass, so you can be able to put office
Okay, so that's
downstairs.
a walkout, that's a,
Because you won't be able to
how are
walk
you
out
gonna
of it.
expose that floor on a flat lot?
That section is not flat.
The only part that isn't flat is this area.
I'll build it exactly how it is on the plan and it will work out perfectly. It really will. What happens here,
Okay.
just try, you know,
No, I'm sorry, your finished grades are not on this plan. This-
they are, the
These
finished
plans
grades
are
are,
so
the finished grades
incomplete.
are, oh, wait,
Then
sorry,
it's impossible for you to build what you're talking about according to these grades. Basement is 8 feet,
Thank you.
minimum.
no, no, we're not,
We're not-
no, that's not, you wanna do it.
Okay. I think we should make a motion to accept planning board 16-03 with the following conditions. Updated and completed plans that indicate signage. Now, didn't he write signage on
He
here?
wrote it on there, but he just,
All right,
Draw
you want it
lines.
more formal?
yeah, we need to know dimensions and
Okay, signage dimensions,
downcast lighting, that kind of
signage dimensions, and downcast lighting, that's
thing,
okay.
type of lighting,
Type of lighting,
yeah.
parking adjustments. And
Dimensions,
dimensions of
yeah.
curbing,
dimensions of curbing,
yes. So that-
what else, eh?
That's
What
all
was
we
the
got.
other?
Oh, and the perk test.
You have the purchase.
Yeah, the first
I know,
one's
but
right
we
there.
wanted it submitted.
Yeah,
Those things that
What-
be submitted, so.
just wanted in the file,
Yeah,
submitted to Doris.
Okay.
submitted in the file.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
For future reference,
No
to
problem.
get
I
these
didn't understand what
things,
you were saying, but I'm good with that.
future reference, if you come back before the board, submit those things prior to tonight.
Forever.
Does he have to
You
say
know
the
that.
building on it? The one story?
That's in the
I'm
minutes.
confused.
Yeah, it's getting.
We're saying that submit a completed plan. We have an idea of what he's going to submit, but we don't see the finished. I'm curious to see where the exit of this basement is going.
There is no exit to the basement. It's just, it's not a walkout. There's a bad terminology. You'll be able to see out from it because there'll be glass because it's a sloping hill as we go to build it. So if you take a look at, and all you have to do is look
Won't
at
you
these
need a
topos.
fire code ease and egress? I don't know if
Not,
that's the right
not for
term.
that size building, no, you don't. And I believe me, I know. But you can also put that into the minutes, I go to the fire department and ask for that, but you don't. And when you get over a certain square footage, you do. On that size, you don't.
Okay, there is a motion.
Do we have a motion, is there a second? Okay, no second. I'll second. All right, all in favor? Aye. All opposed?
Okay.
We have 2, what else, Jim Goodsky, Christine?
4,
No.
no.
4.
All right. Well, I'd like to hear some discussion from the people who voted against it.
I
don't think it's complete enough to, for us to make an educated decision.
In what way do you not think it's complete?
The things that should be on the site plan application. I don't think it's appropriate for our board to hold one person's feet to the fire, which we just did a few months ago, and say, every single thing on this application has got to be done, and then somebody else comes in
But I'm
and
not, what's
half
not
of it
done
they
on the
can't.
application?
All the
That's what I-
conditions you just listed off plus.
If it was one, for me, if it was only one or two, then we could make it part, but it seems like there's so many different things, and I wasn't at that first meeting, so.
Well, the thing is, you know, we said, we gave them some things, like the signage, but we didn't say, and then he marked on here signage, and now you're saying, well, no signage, but no, now we need dimensions, we need more specifics.
We shouldn't have to
So,
hold an applicant's
that's the
hand
thing.
through this process.
Well, that, we did
That,
discuss all
that
that.
right now that was all
Yeah.
discussed.
Yeah, it was discussed.
I
At
brought a
that
lot of
meeting.
these things up and they were left hanging.
We,
So these should have been part of this from the very beginning, and I brought them up at the very first meeting.
and then he came back and he did all of that.
And we still didn't have all of this, because they're still not on these prints, because you have
I
a
would like to
plethora of
speak at this time.
conditions.
What I did is I came back to the second meeting, and I said, okay, this is all we're going to do. And everybody here agreed, and that's part of the minutes. Everybody said, yep, that's all you have to do. And I left, and I went and I did those things. And now I've come back, and it's changing again. And, you know, we have to take a look at the size and the scope of what we're building here. You know, you could go, just to build the building here, I can go and pull a building permit tomorrow to put a duplex in here, that would be the same size. I came here and forward to show you what we're trying to do, the end results, and put a good faith effort into it. I've come here 3 times. And I'll come back and do what you've said again, what you've asked me to do, put on it, but then is there gonna be another laundry list? I'm starting to feel as if all it is pushing me off and pushing me off and pushing me off, because Catherine, I don't really understand. When I asked you that, and you stopped me in the hall here the other day, and you said, well, I really want that easement, will you give me that easement? And I
That
said,
isn't what I said to you.
Well-
I said, would you consider?
right, and I said, no, I wouldn't, I'm only gonna consider the things that you told me to bring in at this time. And
And I walked
that
away.
must have got you, because I can see how upset that you are
You
with
didn't
this
get
approval,
me.
with this approval.
Excuse me, who filled this out?
I did. Who accepted it?
Who filled this out?
Who
You
accepted it,
did.
Catherine?
And it all
Who
says
accepted it
yes.
mostly complete?
Substantially complete
Who
is what
accepted
they
it?
said.
Who accepted it?
We accepted it.
Exactly. So
Okay.
it was accepted, and then I went
Okay,
into 2
and I
meetings.
brought these up
This
at
is
the
the
first
third meeting,
meeting.
Catherine, and you're bringing up
I'm not
new
arguing.
stuff.
It's redundant.
Yes,
This
it is.
is our site plan application. These are items that you checked yes were part of the site plan application.
Correct.
They are not.
And we approved it,
Correct.
yes, we
Okay.
did,
all right? So,
and we did not request any engineering work,
I brought them up.
and we were about to approve it that first night too, I mean, we were close.
yes, we will.
I'm just saying,
And
I
now it's the
cannot
third time.
approve
This is
a site
bordering on
plan.
harassment.
that is
I-
this
I-
incomplete, that we have
I
to,
think you're out of line, Julie.
that we have to keep going through this because for some reason the applicant doesn't want to provide what he already said he did.
I think if you
And we
request
shouldn't have to
something,
walk
and
over
then
his
you
hand.
I
say,
warm them up
that's
nicely for you
fine,
guys.
but we really need 10 more details on that. This could go on forever. Because
Well-
this is in the, this is
When's
already
our
happened
next
the
meeting?
third time.
I'm gonna call
I
this
wonder if we should take
employee.
just,
What?
I was gonna say maybe we should take a recess, another 5-minute recess,
Yeah.
but I can give you our next meeting date, be,
24th of
I'd like to make a call too, before I
why don't we take,
recess.
I mean, if this is
I've asked
holding
for a
up this
recess.
building, if he resubmits, we can
All right,
make
we-
an earlier date.
Let's take a 5-minute break,
Thank you.
yeah.
No, I don't know.
it's okay, I'll leave. Oh, it's not even on. That's all right, we get the videotape. But I'm gonna pause the videotape.
You might want one.
Yeah.
On your makeup, so,
All right, it's back on, sorry.
okay. All right, so we'll continue this case until John can produce the final plans with everything on it that we have requested, including those things that are on the application that I thought were on there, but apparently there are others who don't feel that they were on there sufficiently. Okay? Can I set that in form of motion?
I make a motion to continue planning board case 16-03 till the next meeting.
Yeah,
Oh,
and say what we need to do.
are we gonna go with that?
No, we need the whole, everything submitted properly, including a detailed plans.
Detailed plans, basically.
Detailed engineered plans.
We're gonna leave it like that, vague. Or
Do you
we
have,
specific
you have your
things?
list?
Well, and the specific things that we
It's
discussed.
the site
Because
plan.
detailed
application.
plans,
It's
and then
the
you come
site
back,
plan.
and
It's the
that's
site
not
Say
detailed.
refer to the site plan application.
Okay.
I'd like to
Sorry,
be
we'll
specific,
have-
I'd like
Yeah,
us to be
let's be
specific.
specific.
Yeah.
That'd be
as
good.
to the things that were.
If you wanna be specific, then everything that pertains on this, that's checked off, that it is here, that's applicable, should be part of that plan. Isn't that specific enough?
And
Here's the list,
Okay,
everything that's here that's applicable should be on the plan.
okay.
Is that detailed enough for you?
And I
I
think maybe we
don't
have to
think
go,
I'd
I think we
make
have to
the
go
list.
beyond that too.
I don't think we should be making lists, everything that's on that application that's applicable needs to be
Needs
on
to
the
be
plan.
done to the satisfaction of the majority of planning board members,
Thank you.
okay?
I
No,
think you just voted for us.
we can't say the satisfaction, but plenty, we have to say,
Go ahead.
Refer to
Jim
the site
Malden.
plan application.
If I may, I think the purposes of this continuation right now is just to give a breather to everyone, so I don't know that you need to attach anything. I think the minutes reflect a list of items that the board feels are not present, or some members of the board feel are not present.
On the plan.
right. Name of that.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I'm gonna abstain to vote, decline to vote.
Okay, John?
Thanks.
Thank you, John.
Yep. Appreciate your time.
John, I think
Yeah,
we
we
should,
have the diary of your copy. This is yours.
I appreciate everybody here, I really do. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Ann.
Okay, next case, planning board case 16-05, preliminary site plan design review. And it's a proposal to construct and operate a gas station, convenience store, and additional retail building at 80 and 96 East Main Street in the Regional Commercial District. And now this is basically a conceptual.
Yes.
Okay, it's a change of a site plan review that we had several months ago. We approved the site plan review, and they disappeared, and now they're back.
Well, it's good to see you all again.
Then do I have to approve
We're
this
gonna be very quick
application?
here and keep everybody up.
Don't we have to go through
Was
this?
this a conceptual?
It's not a conceptual, it's a preliminary.
Well, it
site
really is a
Preliminary
conceptual,
site.
isn't it? Is it,
What's that?
it's conceptual, right?
Yes, it's a conceptual consultation, they're the two, sort of, stages of conceptual consultations. This is the first time since I've been here, we've done this second phase, where the discussion has to be noticed. And the benefit from, I guess the benefit being that the planning board's allowed to engage in a little bit more detailed discussion. But still, I think at some point, it'll be important for the board to, say, okay, this is enough for preliminary, and, now we're ready, for you to come with your official submission.
So this was not an official submission?
Okay, yes, your site plan review submission.
Okay, well, my name is Jim Bianco, I'm a lawyer in Concord. We were here 8, 9 months ago, and you guys were great. I'm gonna start coughing, I apologize. But this, what we have here, and we have our engineer here, we answer any questions you want. Everybody stood over here, maybe you can see better. But the idea is, this building was what was approved before. We've talked to our butters, the street, we're in favor then, they're in favor of what we're trying to do now. What we're really trying to do is simply this. We're gonna make this building a little smaller, smaller than what we got approved for. We're gonna have a few more tanks in here, a few more pumps, I should say, in here, but we're putting a pad in here. We're proposed to put a pad in there, and we're gonna eventually have some retail in it. We don't know what the retail is. On the plan that you have, you will see, the amount of building here is about 71 square feet. The convenience store is 460, I think the other one's 5 something, so it's down from the other side, the other building. So that's really the difference in what we're trying to do. We moved it over a little bit. There's a curb cut that we'll talk a little bit more about down here. We've talked to the state of New Hampshire about the secondary curb cut. They seem to be in agreement with it. We have to more negotiations, obviously, with them after we speak with you. And then one of the concerns, of course, is always you guys are concerned because there's water back here. This is one of the areas here that engineer will talk more about that we're sensitive to and how we will deal with the issue of the water runoff. We have that pretty much controlled, so it's not really gonna be a problem. We'll let the engineer speak to that. And so the rest of the plan is pretty much like we had before. It's a little bigger in terms of smaller here, a little bit more in terms of the tanks. But we think it's an ideal place for other retail establishment. It's right across the street, as you know, from a lot of big box stores. And, you know, we're trying to get a sense from you all if that would make sense to you in the community. We think it does. As I've said to you before, we want to be good neighbors. We're not here to be anything but that. So if there's a problem, we want to know about it so we can resolve it. But we don't think there really is, because what we've really done is just shrunk and moved over. This is the new area here. And, you know, that's, you know, basically it. So maybe have the engineer come up and really talk a little bit about this part here, if you would. How's that? I'll get out of his way. So I'm bigger than I am, so I'm going to be here.
Good evening, Luke DiStefano with Bowler Engineering. I think, as Attorney Bianco noted, this is basically a retooling of this site. And I know when we were here initially, we had talked a little bit about the site and maybe some potential future development that may take place, because it is a little under 9-acre site, and we were looking to develop it the first time with just a single gasoline facility with, I believe it was 5 dispensers. As mentioned now, it's a little more than that. We have 8 dispensers underneath the canopy in front of the convenience store. We're proposing some sort of potential truck fueling as well, which would be kept away from the rest of the operation, so you can segregate the truck traffic from the regular vehicular traffic. And then, as mentioned, we're looking at a potential 7,000 and change square foot retail use on the northern side of the property. We have, as was talked about, met preliminarily with DOT. They looked at this and there was some concern, not so much with this curb cut, which had been preliminarily approved as part of the initial design, but our second curb cut proposed on the northern end of the site. We had originally looked at that curb cut being located here. DOT had expressed some concerns, for lack of a better term, about its proximity to the existing curb cut. So we've moved it down. It would be a right-in, right-out only curb cut. And one of the things they also asked that we consider is adding a decel lane so that you can basically get traffic off of East Main Street and into that curb cut without interfering with the flow, the northbound flow of traffic. So if you can see it, we've added that decel lane here as requested by DOT. Drainage, we know, is a concern given the wetland area and the groundwater protection district that we have on the site. We've worked hard to keep all structures out of any of the pertinent areas. There is a small section of proposed asphalt that would be located within the groundwater protection overlay district, but it's a small, very small amount. under existing conditions, the entire site basically drains untreated back to the eastern part of the site in the water body on the opposite side of the train tracks. Very similar to the plan you approved, we're going to collect any runoff from the paved portions of the site. We will pre-treat it, infiltrate it or detain it as we need to, and basically discharge it back to where it's going today. We will basically meet all the requirements that we need to under the DES regulations and any local regulations, but again, it's going to be very similar to what this board had seen and approved as part of the initial plan, just on a little bit larger of a scale because we're creating a bit more impervious area. Apart from that, the rest of the site will be landscaping similar to what we had done initially. We'll have all underground utilities as previously proposed. Lighting will be consistent to what was previously approved, all full cutoff, down lights, designed to keep light where we want it and not create light trespass onto abutting properties. And with that, I'm more than happy to answer any questions the board may have.
We didn't have, on the first time, we didn't have those tanks over to the right, those 3 diesel tanks.
No.
Correct, this is no.
They want to.
I just wanted
Those are more for the truck, would they?
Correct.
Yeah,
So we had trucks, that's what
yeah.
sorry about my words here.
The fuel tanks would serve as both uses potentially, but this would be designed for tractor trailer traffic. These dispensers here for vehicular traffic.
All that area would be asphalted,
Correct.
except for it looks like there's a little neck that comes in between.
Yeah, right in
between-
here,
Between
just-
the sites.
Between, yeah, it says.
Yes, right here
landscape.
to separate. There's a little bit of a grade change, so we need some area to pick up some of the elevation.
Now, the retail part, that's where the existing residence is now, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah,
So you'll update your store management
Absolutely.
to incorporate all that extra area?
Yep. And
Have
we're
you
still,
considered, what is, if someone wanted to go get gas and then decide to go to the convenience store, could they easily access the retail store from the gas station site?
yeah, you could come right down here and without having to get onto East Main, you'd be able to access right here.
Is that gonna be marked as such
Absolutely, it'll be appropriately signed. We're actually,
for two-way traffic?
yes, this is 24 feet wide. Right now, there's a plan, we're actually gonna open that up a little bit, make that about 30 to 40 feet wide to better promote that cross-access.
One of the biggest mistakes that was made at exit 20 was excluding those access roads from site to site.
well, that's why we're here, we want to hear what you guys have to say.
Yeah. Explain to me if you would. Okay, so a tractor trailer comes in, gas is up to the right now, how do they exit?
Basically, what
Across
they
all
would
the
do,
passenger?
they could come in, we've left enough room for them to make a turn, and they can
Okay, we have
basically
enough
come
turn
right out
radius.
top. Correct.
Now, the original plan had a sidewalk, a walkway?
Yes, and we're still showing that, we're showing a sidewalk coming up,
And then
a crosswalk, and then direct access to the building.
You guys had recommended that.
Yeah, from that, yeah.
Yeah, there were some other improvements that were proposed out within the right of way. We're still keeping everything that was part of the original plan.
And that's,
And when they had the middle, you were gonna do the crosswalk with DOT,
Yes,
Yep.
and now they've moved it.
yeah,
So there,
it's fine.
so long.
there's
Yeah.
another one here.
What about people walking to the additional retail place now? Where's their means of?
Well, we're still looking at, we may, ultimately, we may explore a cross-access direct, again, because of the elevation change. We want to look at it, make sure it would need to be handicap accessible. We want to make sure we can do that. If not, what we'll probably consider, if it works, is maybe a second access similar to what we have here, so you can get foot traffic from East Main back to the retail building. And a lot of it will depend on, I think, what that retail use is. If it really doesn't warrant pedestrian access.
That's why this is a plan.
So there's no tractor trailer parking, right?
There are some spaces back here that we envision may be used, but I don't think so. I think that's gonna be for smaller commercial trucks. We don't envision this being a truck stop.
Well, you don't have that access at some of the other gas stations except for the Exxon. That's the only other one in town I can think of that
That
has.
one, that's
I
one.
mean, the Irving does sort of, but they have that much access for tractor trailers and diesel motorhomes.
Yeah, traditionally, if you've got your regular diesel dispensers, you're not fueling large vehicles because they're low speed. These would be specifically designed for larger gas tanks where you can get in and get out pretty quick.
Like
I think the only place I've ever seen them is at Park and Go on
it's hard to get, when you're up a 40-foot motorhome diesel, it's hard to find a place to gas up.
I have seen them at Cumberland Farms. The motorhomes, but not the trucks. The trucks,
No,
I
yeah,
always have
tractor
seen those
trailers.
at Park and Go.
So it would be nice to have,
Yeah, I think what you have here is you're actually, and I have sites all over New England. You know, traditionally, you don't have sites this large where you can actually facilitate that type of truck movement or
Mhm.
motorhome movement. So this is a little bit of a unique situation, and I think
I
a
know.
pretty good one given the location.
every exit west of the Mississippi has them though.
You know.
But how far are those new pumps from the nearest residential?
Well, this is 109 feet here, and then you have a little, it's probably in the order of magnitude 120, 130 feet.
And that house that was sold.
This is
bought by
actually was
Howard.
bought by, I believe,
Dennis?
the abutting property.
Let me just say, I spoke with Dennis yesterday and went over this with him. He said he's in Florida, or he'd be here, but he had no objection to it. I understand what we're trying to do, and I know the house you're talking about here, he purchased, so he seems to be okay.
Isn't there a house right behind that? There's a small house that's right behind that.
If you say so.
I drove by it today, so
I know there are
Well,
some.
there's Bonifant's and the others are on Morrison Ave, right?
Bonifant's on Route 3 side.
Yeah, and the others are on Morrison.
Well, there's a house at the end of Morrison.
Yeah,
Right.
right,
Yeah.
there's
It's a
one
smaller
behind.
house.
Right, does he own those?
I don't know.
I
He owns quite a
think
few.
Dennis owns,
But it
Dennis
doesn't
owns
matter
the one on the
'cause they're
corner.
Yeah, I think he does own.
I know the guy who works at AutoServe lives in that
Oh,
house.
okay.
Well, I'm concerned
I
about
think he
noise
told
to
me that
those
he owns
neighbors from a truck running idling at 3 in the morning.
When they get
Feeling
done
it.
for site
Yeah, he
treatment,
mentioned
think
that.
about
How many
hours
measures
of
go
operation.
And we don't know what's gonna go in this pad, it's a pad, in detail, but today we don't know. There's no contract signed, there's discussions with lots of people, but it's not even. But we think it's a nice tax base increase.
Do you have any, you don't have any ideas?
That's a good, we do.
You guys might have better information than we do.
We
don't.
have an idea.
Yeah.
Did I count 11 cars stacked up
How's that?
around that drive-through?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And you'd have room for plenty more before you started impacting any kind of traffic
There's
on
11,
site.
I would be waiting.
11 what?
In the drive-through stacked
Oh,
up.
okay.
What prompted the expansion? Was there a study that was done? Because it was smaller and now you're decided to go much bigger? Or earlier, when they, when you
It was
submitted it, and
bigger,
it wasn't
and
the
it's going
retail
smaller,
space.
and now
Well,
they've
retail
added a space.
Yeah, I
And
think that's
gas
just a
pumps.
It's a business
business.
decision.
Just because. did you do
It was
a
a-
study?
Yeah, I can speak on it. Tom Daniel from Global Partners. Yeah, I mean, as Luke said, it's, somewhat 9-acre site, so the investment into this property, I believe they looked at parceling off a piece before, but that wasn't gonna work either. So then we started looking at, what other uses could we get on here, so
That's what,
that's what it's,
thank you.
it's a business decision.
Just how to maximize your investments,
Right,
maximize your
so it's hard
investment.
to know exactly what. So our goal was to come here, and let what we were here, 6, 8 months ago, show you our new ideas, get your input, see what you think before we move on to the next level. Seems to make sense to us, makes sense to the state. Gary has been very helpful as always, looking over the plans and the regs, but we want to get your input, see what you think.
Am I looking at some sort of culvert in that upper right-hand corner?
This here?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's existing, that's there, it's a swale.
That's just a swale, it's not a culvert?
Yeah, it's a stone swale,
Okay.
and we're not touching it.
What drains into it, do you know?
I think it's just a
DOT.
portion of the site that runs down into that area.
Oh, it's not DOT's drainage?
I'll be perfectly honest with you, I don't know, we're not touching it.
I'm just curious. It
Yeah.
was-
There's no, as far as I can tell, I don't think the survey revealed any type of easement, so we just assumed someone put it in years ago,
Probably
and
DOT.
it's been there ever since.
Okay, anything else?
How far on the left side is that from the, I know there's a stream or a brook underneath on that far left corner of that lot.
From the building to the property line?
Or from the parking lot.
Well, this is 118 feet, so you're probably looking at about 90. 80 feet.
The post office is.
I know, but in between that though, there's
I know.
a small brook. I don't know where the water comes from, but there's a brook there.
Goes from,
I don't know if it's one that
Long
pond
Pond
behind
by,
it. It just seems like it's
I'm gonna call it the Agway, but it's not the Agway anymore.
It's a
rusty.
couch store.
Did you say couch store?
Oh, the upholstery.
It's some,
Furniture.
no,
The furniture,
it's
the
a furniture
fine-
store,
The country stuff that's
Yeah.
Rustic.
all western.
yeah.
So what we're really looking for is a conditional use permit. We can go forward at some point.
Everything you're proposing is allowed on the site.
For the groundwater protection.
Yeah.
We don't know what it is. Stormwater.
When do you propose to do this?
That's a good question.
I mean, because we,
Well,
it was
how
so.
soon you gonna give us a permit?
Well, no.
You can ask us a question.
Well, they've gotta update the site,
Yeah.
Are you asking, when do you plan to submit your site plan application,
Yeah.
or, yeah, okay.
update the site plan.
Well, I mean,
Reasonably
obviously,
soon.
reasonably soon, yes. Obviously, we still have some more work to do engineering wise.
Okay,
We gotta check it out a little bit, but yeah, it won't be done.
okay.
You have all our conditions that we talked about in the original site plan, so. A couple of suggestions.
Yeah, I mean, may I?
Yeah.
Chairman? One of the conditions was that the two lots be merged prior to construction. And looking at this, in order to meet setbacks, that would have to remain a condition, it would
Yeah.
seem.
Yes.
And then you mentioned the conditional use permit. I think what I was thinking is that you would submit that at the time of your site plan review application, if that works for you. I suppose it doesn't have to be that way, but that's how it's generally been done.
Generally,
let's do it
yes,
that way.
okay,
Okay.
That's fine,
Okay.
sure.
all right.
That makes sense. I see
We are
something
growing.
is that okay? Any other questions people have?
Anything?
It's hard being a conceptual and not a real site plan.
Yeah, of course.
So it's-
But we want to at least show you what we were thinking and get you going with thoughts, so we can incorporate them when we come back.
Yeah, and right now, I don't know who they're negotiating with for that other parcel. It's just, it is merely conceptual at this point.
All right.
Yeah, I have one other quick thing. Last time we went through this, we talked quite a bit about the noise. And I think you guys came up with some tree plans. Is that
Yeah.
right? And I just wanted to, before
I
we,
think it says, Karen just pointed out, we had a trash pickup as well as food and beverage only shall be conducted between the hours of 6 and 11. We had that in the-
Yeah. that's the only problem I see is the neighbors, and we did talk about that last time.
My concern is gonna be those
No, we talked about a landscaping buffer too.
trucks
Yeah,
Yes.
well,
being
trees.
Yeah,
closer
we'll
to
have, we are definitely cognizant of the neighbors to the west, and we'll certainly do what we can. It's a pretty significant elevation drop, too.
the sound still travels.
But yeah, absolutely.
Well, I know there've been some complaints and concerns with the restaurant that's across the street with when deliveries are made and trash is picked up. And some of the neighbors in that area have voiced their concerns about that. So rather than have that, we want to make sure we're.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that was part of the
Bringing
condition.
it up, yeah.
So we respect that. Anything else, Pat? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We're gonna get
More
that
during the site plan.
prepared and-
Yeah, well, we would expect that.
Maybe we'll have more might know what's in it.
Thank you all.
Thank
all very
you.
much.
Thank you for coming.
Good to see you.
Thank
all.
you.
Drive safely.
So that's how the big boys do it.
Go ahead, I got the bag, I don't wanna take anybody out. Put everybody in front of me, I know where it is.
But there's one more.
All right, folks, I'm leaving, I've seen enough.
Have a good night.
Sorry, I'd like
Night,
to see
John.
their stormwater management plan, so it's updated.
Yeah, I mean, who
Hopefully.
knows? It's possible though, they won't, you know, we don't know when they'll come with something.
I know, but I
yeah,
mean-
Yeah,
That's a long, theirs is a pretty long document.
yeah.
I want to read it before they can move to the site plan.
Oh, yeah, it'll be available,
I
you know.
think I read it on their second visit, I finished it.
Well,
Yeah,
it's, the other one was, I don't see that it would be too different from the other one, that,
It could be.
Right,
It's on
I-
the added,
It'll-
Friday morning asphalt.
I'm assuming they'll use the same techniques and just the volumes will be different.
Yeah.
That's right.
And
But the
then
last one
groundwater
was
area.
extremely well done. It was
It was.
actually fun to read.
it was overdone, really.
Oh, no, it's
The
perfect.
safety
It
of
was
the
perfect.
tank, everything was in there.
All right,
It's perfect.
review the April 26 minutes. Has everybody had a chance to read them?
I did, I just have one comment. I arrived late at that meeting, and I didn't vote on that case, so I don't know if that should be noted. It says all in favor, and it doesn't mention that I was late to the meeting.
Okay, let's see here, what are we on?
April 26 minutes.
Okay, when would you say you arrived?
I arrived right after they finished, because she was walking outside, and I was walking inside, so it was very quick, it was only like 10 minutes, I was like 6:40.
I think it would be harmless if we did nothing, however, I could write, if you like, if you wish, I could put a note, Mr. Pyra arrived.
Late,
Just-
as usual.
At least he showed.
Better late than never, as they say.
So would you like me to somehow note in the minutes that you weren't there for that initial vote?
Well, I just didn't
one
know
way
if
or
it was,
another?
if it was gonna be, could be an issue at some point in the future, and
I can't imagine how, but,
someone holds
no
a
harm in
knife
getting
to my
it
throat,
there.
says, why'd you vote for that? And
right.
I'm like, I wasn't there, but the minutes say you were.
You have a pretty good event.
A lot of
No, I'll
time-
get it.
I had a lot of time at the airport this weekend, so.
Really?
I read these at the airport, sorry.
I'll entertain a motion to accept.
Make a motion to accept the minutes of April 26, 2016.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. We have no correspondence.
Be that way.
Who's not here, so we don't say.
Okay,
Thank you.
may I mention just the OEP conference one more time? I know,
Well, that's other business.
okay, sorry.
Okay. So now we're ready for other business. What's up?
He's on it.
The OEP conference, don't forget, I have sent an email out, if you need more, if you know, lost it or whatever, let me know. But, you know, I think we've all benefited quite a bit, in past years from attending, so, don't forget about it. If you can't attend, I encourage you to do so. I don't remember,
Alright, I'll
it's June 4th or something, I think. Is it June 4th?
I don't know.
I don't know, it's in
I'll find
the
it.
email,
It's not,
yeah.
it's not at some pretty place anymore. It is June 4th, though. The other thing is that there's another meeting, Robin's having another meeting for the
Accessory.
I'm
accessory
not sure, I
dwelling.
June
guess,
11th.
I'm a little, we are, we're in a good situation where you guys are, you're going to conferences, we all are, but we do have a budget. So I'm not sure, I mean, in my mind, the OEP conference is the most important. However, I'll check the budget, provided we have money in the budget. There is another Plan New Hampshire, what was it? Tiny houses, right? It was on tiny houses. So as long as we have money, I know Chairman Alden would like to attend. I would like to attend, but it's a money thing, so.
So I think it's something that we're gonna see in the future,
Right.
and that's why I think it's really important.
I agree.
I have been to the OEP every year, so if it would help the budget, I won't go to that and go
Okay.
to the other one.
All right.
But I've never,
That's why I was thinking split it up.
yeah,
Are they going to have a tiny house? Or are they just gonna show pictures?
I'm sure they'll be
I bet there will be a tiny
Do you
house.
know what time that conference would be?
The OEP?
Yes.
It's probably all day on a Saturday, from like 8 to 4.
but I would like to go if we can afford it.
Okay, all right. But if you only can go to one, you wanna go to tiny.
Wait, can we stay over? There's a hotel.
On your
On your dime.
You have to remember that
Good snow.
the budget is the selectmen's budget. all of
Okay,
it. So, what I'm saying is, I mean, education is priceless.
okay,
If you run out of budgets for
Okay.
conferences, because that is estimated, the selectmen could approve to transfer more into,
okay,
especially, like you said, I
Take
agree
it out of
with
the
Jay,
police
this is important.
okay.
It's new legislation,
So,
it's
so,
gonna affect us all.
all right, so, what I'll do is I'll circulate the email about, the tiny house workshop, and we'll just sign people up if they wanna go, right?
I'm
And-
signed up.
Oh, you already are signed up, okay, great,
And
Right.
I just think that that's something that we're gonna be working on this year,
right,
and that we really need to be up to speed on. And we're talking about changing a lot of things in our own ordinances to accommodate this kind of thing.
I know there.
Well, there are tiny houses, there's one in Sandwichton that I know of,
There's one
one of the
going in
Swains has
Acres.
one.
Hmm.
Somebody asked if, the dwellings can be like a camper or mobile homes, you can't, right? These accessory dwellings?
No, but one of the things that
Or mobile home?
that's come up, if you remember, is that it's up to the town to decide if it can be a separate building. For instance, if you have a garage and you wanna convert that to a place to live, that's up to the town to make changes and that kind of thing. Because that's not how the law reads. When I really saw when it was, that it's gotta be connected. But we could decide that, no, it doesn't have to be, if somebody has a barn. I mean, I'd always wanted to convert a barn.
Cool.
You know, it would be really neat. So Christine's gonna build a barn and I'm
Yeah.
gonna,
Because also I remember going to one of the OEP conferences and it said, people don't realize they get money to keep their barns because they're more historical. And you don't have to have it for livestock or anything. So maybe converting into dwellings.
well,
As long
we
as
know
they keep
some
them up.
people on School Street that should have taken advantage of that, you know?
Oh,
Yeah.
Very sad. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. I'll entertain a motion to go.
Make a motion to adjourn?
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Are you talking about that building, that barn
Where
is
is
all
that?
dilapidated?
Car
And they
is
spend
dark.
money.
Yes.
When is that
Because I went to
conference?
the last meeting.
That
I
was,
think I didn't
the
go
what
to
the dwelling
it.
was?
Saving
I
that.
don't know, I'm sorry, I'll
No,
send you
I-
an email.
I saw an email and I just didn't see a date.
June 4th, I think.
No, that's
Oh,
the
June 10th.
I don't know,
And
I'm sorry.
you can do
I don't
I'll
know.
send you an email.
And I don't know.
That's the way it's here.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
we can't have vehicles
This
there.
road,
Are you
here,
Minutes.
up towards this road, up
Sure.
towards.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
But I think it's not to run a shuttle business out here, it's to maintain
Yeah,
that.
then we go up and.
I hope.
A couple farmhouses, and then there's that barn.
Well, there's also the 66 Caleb went into foreclosure and there's like this huge, there used to be an old like chicken farm or something on